I told you we were going to get heavy into basketball, into the NBA. We are getting heavy into the NBA right now. I was looking it up the other day, and this is as of I'm recording this on Thursday, but obviously you guys are going to hear it on Friday. So what I'm telling you could change, all right? And actually, even when I was looking this stuff up, there were still a couple of games that were being played that had to be played when I was looking this up. So I'm going to look on my phone just to make sure that I got this right. But it's NBA time. Playoffs are here. I think there's like 2 games left in the regular season. Then we're getting right into the play-in games and the playoff games, which I'm still kind of iffy about whether I'm actually like a fan of the play-in tournament. Like I'm not really a huge advocator of change. I liked it the way it was, and I think that if there's nothing wrong, don't fix it. But you got to follow the money. The money makes all the decisions, so it is what it is. But anywho, all right, so let's talk about the NBA, because there are a few things that I see from these standings that kind of have me like, whoa. Remember, my brain has been on football and then college basketball, and now the NBA has its time. NFL free agency. It's the NBA's time. Before the NFL draft, it's the NBA's time, okay? So we're going to make sure that we give them all the respect because they need it. We've seen some crazy stuff, but I'm all here for it. So a couple things. One, the Boston Celtics are 62-17. They are 13.5 games up on the Milwaukee Bucks, who are in second, and they're only a half game up on the Knicks, who are only a half game up on the Cavs, who are only a game up on the Magic. Shout out to the Magic. Being a top 4, well, I guess down there 5th, but 5 and 4 really, there's not much consequence. Shout out to the Magic being a top 4 or 5 team in the East. That kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, we knew that they were solid, but top 5, over team. And granted, part of that helps is Miami's never as good a team in the regular season as they are in the playoffs. Philly had the issue with Joel Embiid that I know about with the injury, but that's dope, man. That's dope. Shout out to the Magic, Paolo Banchero in the squad over there. Jalen Suggs, remember Gonzaga's own Jalen Suggs. Shout out to them, man. Shout out to them. But Boston, 35-3 at home. That says a lot. It says that that's a team who values the regular season. That's a team that is on a mission, okay? And that's a team that's not doing a lot of taking nights off, right? Maybe the playing game wasn't as important to them as it was to others, but not the plan. I'm sorry. The in-season tournament wasn't as important to them as the others, but whatever. They're firmly in first place in the East, head over heels better than everybody else. I don't know if Drew Holiday and Kristaps have something to do with that. I don't know if it's injuries elsewhere that have other things to do with that. But, Boston's got the best record by 6 games. 6 whole games on the best team in the West. Now, granted, the West has the next 4 or 5. The top 5 teams in the West would all be the 1 seed in the East, which is how it used to be. But yeah, that's something. I think the Sixers in the play-in is bullshit. Just being honest, right? Obviously, they had the injury with Embiid and they fell off the wagon, and now they've won 6 straight. And so they're going to mess around. And if the Pacers win one more game, which they've got the Cavs and they've got the Hawks, while the Sixers have, who they got left? The Magic and the Nets. The Sixers are going to mess around and play in the play-in game, beat the Heat, and Milwaukee, I promise you, Milwaukee is not trying to see Philly round 1 because they will probably go home. We cannot figure out Milwaukee, the Dame Lillard experiment. We can't really tell if it's been great or not great. They're at 49-31. They might not get 50 wins. They probably will. But, making that move and not making it to 50 wins, whether you're the 2 seed in the East or not, feels kind of like a letdown. And, look, the longer that we do this, the more you'll understand how y'all keep trying to tell me Doc Rivers is a great coach, and I'm waiting for y'all to show me why. But, hey, that's another conversation for another time. It's also shady. Dog, if I bring you in, if I'm a team owner, I have a coach, I bring you in to consult. So one thing I'm telling you right there is that I believe that something's going wrong and you might be able to help me find the answers. And then all of a sudden the coach gets fired and then you're just like, oh, well, I mean, I'm here. I'll step in. It don't look fishy. Y'all can't tell me it doesn't look fishy. Like, it doesn't look, and it's not like the Bucks were a lowly seed in the East or nothing like that. They were still up there. So it looks a little bit off to me. Doc Rivers just, JJ Redick went off on him on first take, however many months ago that was, and it sparked the whole thing. But it is always somebody else's fault other than Doc Rivers. But anyway, so they don't want to see Philly. I mean, they don't really want to see Miami either, but that's looking like what it's going to be. Philly and Miami are going to match up. Chicago and Atlanta are going to match up. And then, yeah. So, now granted, Miami was close to losing to, I want to say it was Atlanta last year, and they ended up making the finals. So, if you're Boston, you're kind of rolling your eyes like, Miami always does this crap. But you're also probably licking your chops like we want them back after last year. And if you're Milwaukee, you are hoping that you don't see Philly. You're probably trying to get to the 3 seed. So you're probably trying to lose 2 games and get to the 3 seed or the 4 and avoid. You probably want to be the 3 because you don't want to play Boston. But you're probably trying to avoid it altogether. It wouldn't be surprising if that's what they were trying to do. But because the Knicks have no Julius Randle, the Knicks have the Celtics, this is probably a loss. They have the Nets and the Bulls. That's at least 2 wins. That's 49. So yeah, you might have to lose out, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see. That's interesting. That's interesting. Because if I'm Milwaukee, do I really want to see Philly or Miami? No. If I can go see Indiana, who doesn't have any playoff experience right now, yeah. Or they're but see, that's the other thing. If Philly sneaks, they're only a game back of Indiana. They sneak into the 6. Milwaukee could find themselves regretting that decision and having to play Philly in the first round. It's a mess. And this kind of feels like this is one of those situations where this is not how the play-in stuff is supposed to work. But because Philly had this big injury that cost them a lot of games, they find themselves being the team nobody wants to see in the first round, which doesn't really fit like the preface of the best team plays the worst team that you make these playoffs. But anyway, whatever. On the West side, you got the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, and the Thunder all fighting for the 1 seed. Nuggets have a 1-game lead on both of them. Nuggets beat Minnesota the other night. Are the Nuggets just inevitable? Like, I understand there's other good teams. You don't want to be, if you're Oklahoma City or Minnesota, you don't want to be in the 2-3 matchup with the Nuggets, where you're going to have to beat them and then get past them to then play the other of y'all 3. And if you're the Nuggets, you're kind of like, all right, we'll get past whoever we're going to play round 1. We'll get past the Clippers or Dallas round 2, which I think that Dallas is going to smoke the Clippers' boots, if I'm being quite honest with you. I think Clippers are getting out of here. I think it might be 6, but it could be 5. I'm not falling for the Clippers. I know they went on that long stretch, and I know that they're much better when Russell Westbrook is playing versus when he's not. I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for it at all. Not falling for the Clippers. I love seeing Oklahoma City. I love Chet. I love Gobert and Ant-Man in Minnesota. And, of course, I love Jokic and Jamal Murray. And Jamal Murray's health has seemed to be pretty much the whole thing around Denver's wins and losses. Their record with Murray versus without. With Murray, they're barely over 500. And without, they're the best team in the league. So, without him, they're barely over 500. And with him, they're the best team in the league. So, that's, do with that information as you will. Looking down here, you got the Pelicans at the 6 seed, half a game up on Phoenix, who's the 7, and the Kings, who are a game and a half behind them at the 8. But they're only half a game up on the Lakers and 1 game up on the Warriors. That's interesting because the Kings are falling off here a little bit. They have lost 3 of 4. They've got the Pelicans next, who are trying to secure that 6. Then they've got the Suns, who are trying to get that 6, but definitely not go past the 8 because they don't want to get below the Lakers. And then they got the Blazers. Oh, damn. That's a tough little schedule for the Kings. They got the 2 teams in front. Now, granted, you win these games, you're really putting yourself in a good position for you to get the 6 if you're the Kings. But seeing them kind of fall back from the 3 last year to the 6 is kind of what you, or the 2 to the 6 or whatever it is kind of what you, this is probably how good the Kings actually were last year. They just had a really good season, remember? And then like the Warriors actually beat them in round 1 in game 7. Yeah, this is probably right where the Kings actually are. Then you got the Lakers and the Warriors, half a game separated with 3 games to go. Warriors got the Blazers, the Pelicans, and the Jazz. They should win 2 out of 3. The Lakers only have 2 games to go, but they got the Grizzlies and the Pelicans. If they win 1, then they will both have a 46-36 record. I don't know who has the tiebreaker, but they'll be playing in the 9-10 matchup more than likely. You got Steph, Bron, AD, Booker, Beal, and Durant all in the play-in in the West. Now, you got Zion not in the play-in. He could be in the play-in, just depending on how this goes. But Luka and them made it out the play-in. The Clippers made it out the play-in. I like the West more than I like the East because I don't know anything about Cleveland is the team that just makes me, they're going home. They always do. First round, Cleveland's not. You're playing 2 small guards. It's really hard when it comes to playoff basketball playing 2 small guards. The Knicks are gonna struggle because Brunson's so small, but they just play such great defense and they are well coached. But Cleveland having 2 small guards is a little bit different. I'm curious how Orlando. I think that's going to be an intriguing series if they play Orlando and Cleveland. Oh shoot, Orlando and Indiana have the same record. They're both only 1 game on Philly. We might mess around. Oh, this will be. Who's Orlando got? So Orlando's got the Sixers, and the Bucks. Oh, Orlando might be out of here. While the Pacers got the Cavs. They're only 1 game back of, and the Hawks. Yeah, so Orlando might be in the 7 because the Heat got the Raptors twice. That's 2 dubs. So Orlando might be in the 7. But anyway, that'll be interesting as well. Let's go ahead and ask the hard questions. Okay. We've already asked, are the Nuggets inevitable? The way UConn was, the way the South Carolina girls were. I think they are. I think the Nuggets are. I think that the Lakers can beat anybody. If they get the right matchup, they will. But I also think they could lose any game. I don't think the Lakers lose to the Warriors if they play in a play-in. I think the Warriors are hoping everything in their power. They don't have to play the Lakers. If they do, they play them in a 7-8 situation, not a 9-10. But I don't think anybody wants the Nuggets. I don't think anybody can rock with the Nuggets. I do think the Lakers have a better chance because they do have good size. So are they inevitable? Probably. Do we actually believe in the Thunder or the Timberwolves? This is the same exact thing we saw with the Kings last year. The young team that was probably a year or 2 ahead in the Thunder, ahead of where they were supposed to be. Probably more like 1 year. I think the Kings last year were probably 2 years ahead. I think Thunder are probably 1 year ahead. The Timberwolves, I think that they are where they're supposed to be. I would kind of expect them more in that 5-6 range, not that 1-2-3 range. But they've got the pieces. So why not them? Right? I think that there are some teams that are benefiting from a down year for Memphis. I think there are teams that are benefiting from the Spurs don't quite have what they need around Wemby. And I think that the teams I'm talking about here aren't the teams you're thinking when I'm talking about the Timberwolves or the Thunder. It's the Warriors and the Lakers type stuff, where these older teams who can kind of just coast and like, oh, we know how the regular season works and we'll do whatever. Like, the Lakers punted them. They went 3-13 the month after the play-in. After the play-in, I keep saying play-in. After the in-season tournament. That's 10 games. Like a 10-game, like minus 10-game stretch for them. You get a team like Memphis who comes up, the Spurs, and then you had Houston who was nipping on everybody's heels with Ime Udoka. That's That's three teams right there who are coming, and I see the three teams that better get up out of here: Phoenix, Lakers, Warriors. Those are the three teams that are dipset, right? Because they're all getting old. They're just getting old. Everybody else is pretty young. Denver's solid. Minnesota's young. Oklahoma City, young. The Clippers are getting old too, so they might be another one, just depending on where those veterans decide they want to go with the rest of their careers. New Orleans, young. Sacramento, young. Phoenix, old. LA, old. Golden State, old. Houston, young. Memphis, I don't think they're old. They might not be super young. They're probably young, though. And then San Antonio, Wemby's coming. Wemby is coming. If you don't remember anything else from this pod, remember that Wemby is coming. Okay? So they better get in while they can, because it's about to be over for these old dudes. Get them out of here. Get these old heads out of here. It's over. It's done. Finito. Finish. Bye. New faces of the league. Okay? Hard questions. Is Jokic the MVP just because everybody says he's the MVP? And we've been saying it for like 2 months? Because why not Luka? Luka's got the Luka has why not Luka? Luka's averaging 33.9, 9.2 rebounds, and 9.8 assists. His team right now is the 5 seed. But by the time you hear this, they could be the 4 seed. I lied. They're going to be, they could be the 4 seed. SGA, 30 points a game for, I think it's third straight season, or second straight season at least. 30 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Jokic just 26, 12, and 9, doing what Jokic does. Why is Jason Tatum getting no love? His team's got 62 wins. I thought that the best player on the best team always at least was basically on the ballot. And it just sounds like when you hear people talk about Tatum, they just say, he's just not it. And I have no clue why, because it seems pretty it to me. 27 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Like, I don't really know what else you have to do. Be the best player by a mile on the best team by a mile. They used to just always get consideration. So do we really want to have a true conversation about who the MVP is? Because I think everybody's just saying Jokic because it's just been Jokic. Once Embiid got hurt and Jokic won a championship, I think everybody was like, okay, we didn't give it to him last year. Then he won a chip. So now that Embiid's hurt, we just need to go ahead and give it to him. And maybe we should sit back and have a better conversation about who the MVP should be, because I don't necessarily think it's that clear cut. That's just me. I don't want no beef. I don't want no beef. Okay? But I think that if I had a vote, which I don't, I probably should have a vote over some of y'all, if I'm being quite honest. But again, don't want no beef. Not today. I don't want no smoke today. But if I had to choose, I'm probably going Luka. Luka's bringing his team up. I mean, they're playing the best basketball probably of anybody in the NBA, except Boston, of course. And it's because of Luka. Why not make Luka the MVP, man? Why not? That's my MVP. Luka's my MVP. If I had to pick, I'd probably still go Nuggets over the field in the West, but I think it's wide open, and I think it's going to make an interesting playoffs on both sides, because I haven't watched a lot of Pacers, but we know they were entertaining in the in-season tournament. Haven't watched a lot of Magic. I don't really watch a lot of Cleveland. Haven't watched a lot of gotten to see a lot of Minnesota. Haven't gotten to see a lot of Denver, all these West Coast teams. You know, you get Warriors, you get Lakers all the time, so it'll be nice to see some other guys in the playoffs that haven't been in the playoffs, and Zion. Because, you know, how we all felt about Zion, and this is now the year where when Zion was hurt and Ja went right, now Ja's out and Zion can get right. You know, so it's NBA time, man. You got to be excited. This is some of the best times in sports. You just had the NFL ended, the Super Bowl in February, then you get March Madness, then you get the NBA playoffs before you get to the dead of the summer, where it's baseball. You know, we got hockey playoffs coming if you're interested in hockey, but it's baseball. My summer's going to be kind of interview based. But anyway, no shade on baseball. Maybe we'll cover something. Maybe we'll get some more Shohei Ohtani news. But I'm being quite honest, NBA playoffs all the way up till June, it's going to be epic. It's going to be epic. Can the storylines of LeBron and Steph, and then can Tatum and them can Boston, all the success they've had, can they actually have the end goal, which is win a championship? so on and so forth. It's going to be great.